Kirada Marada Gunjabe Okay. Jai Sachi Sutta ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Shabadu ki, Shri Radha Parasishwara ki, Transcendental Book Distribution ki, Jai Shri Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Marathon ki, Jai Gaur Premanande, glorious to be assembled, all glories to Shri Guru and Grand Gopal Shri Nam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Ustavakale, Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinam. Namaste, Saraswati Devi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Bodies. Not everybody's, but whatever bodies are here. And I hope the soul's here too. They're still not in a dream world somewhere. Oh, I guess, well, I don't know if anyone else is going to manifest. No, here they come. Maybe. So we just quickly read yesterday's. Should we do it now, or do you think more of those will come later? I haven't seen it, so.
We didn't see them.
Didn't see them. Maybe they're already out on Sankirtan.
Probably.
Yeah.
Busy morning today. Is it a holiday today as well?
No.
It's not. In England they have a holiday today.
Oh.
And today's the big day, Boxing Day is the big day. They really enjoy it.
It is holiday actually.
Public
France?
holiday?
Yeah, it is, of course.
We don't have
Shops are closed?
public holiday. It's not public holiday.
Well,
It's not a
they
vacant.
don't have school.
Okay,
It's
not at
not.
school.
It's
For
not
you, I
a
don't know,
vacant
but-
day, but this is holiday for school.
Schools.
Yeah.
Or
School
all-
holidays. Yeah.
Okay, schools.
Yeah,
But the banks are open. Banks are open.
Mm.
Yeah, everything
Everything's
is open.
normal.
Yeah.
Just the
It's
school.
not a vacant day.
Just
Not
school.
a real holiday. Not public holiday, they say public. Yeah, in England it's a public holiday. Many countries. Boxing Day.
Mm.
2-day holiday for Christmas. Anyway, whatever it is, it is. So, well, I think I'll read the scores a bit later. There might be one or two people manifesting later on. I don't know, maybe I should hear the Bhagavatam. I don't know. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 I think we're starting a new chapter, aren't we?
Yeah.
Just 3 days there's been no Bhagavatam class probably.
Yeah.
2 CCs and Prabhupada yesterday.
Yes.
I need a cup. Where's the orange cup?
Yes, it's good.
What verse you have on the board?
Third.
I'll read the first 2 verses. Then we'll go on to the 3rd verse. Shri Shukuvacha tenyon yato surapatram arantas jaktasodidaha Shripanto dasudharmana ayantim dadvishu sriyam. Sukdev Goswami said, thereafter, the demons became inimical toward one another, throwing and snatching the container of nectar. They gave up their friendly relationship. Meanwhile, they saw a very beautiful young woman coming forward toward them. Amazing how the mind works, the demoniac mind. You know, you're sometimes, you're supposed to be friends, but when there's some sense gratification involved, and you can sort of suddenly become enemies and kill each other over it. And then the wealth is there, but then the woman comes. And they're like, you ever seen ducks? You know ducks? You have ducks
Yeah.
in France? You know
Yeah.
ducks,
The canal.
yeah. Yeah. If you throw something to the ducks, they all go there. But if you throw something at somewhere else, they all run over there. And then they lose it, they lose both. They're so lusty, so greedy. Indeed, there's a demoniac mentality. Most ducks are ducks, but they just fall into nature. But in human form of life, people like that, You see that with a beggar. You've got something there. If you throw something there, they'll run over there, They'll go for it. They've got the energy to do so. It's nature of greed. So demons are greedy people. They always want more, and they don't care. And sometimes they don't even care about their own family. Even at the cost of their own kids, sometimes they'll, sometimes. The demoniac mentality. So here with the demons, they're fighting over the nectar. They were united together to get it. When they get it, they fight with each other over it. And they have all these plans to get wealth, and they fight with each other over it. And women the same thing with their men. Next verse. Aho rupam aho dhamma aho asyanavam vaya iti te tam abidvritya papruchur jatarit jayaha. Upon seeing the beautiful woman, the demon said, "Alas, how wonderful is her beauty, how wonderful the luster of her body, how wonderful is the beauty of her youthful age." Speaking in this way, they quickly approached her, full of lusty desires to enjoy her, and began to inquire from her in many ways. I think today's verse is on the board. Ka tvam kanja pala shakshi
Katvam kanja pala shakshi
kuto va kinchikirshasi
kuto va kimchikirshasi
kasyasi vadava moru
kasyasi vadava moru
matnativa manangsina
matnativa manamsina
katvam kanja pala shakshi
Katvam kanja pala shakshi
kuto va kinchikirshasi
kuto va kimchikirshasi
kasyasi vadavam moru
kasyasi vadava moru
matnativa manangsina
matnativa manamsina
katvam kanja pala shakshi
Katvam kanja pala shakshi
kuto va kinchikirshasi
kuto va kimchikirshasi
kasyasi vadavam moru
kasyasi vadava moru
matnativa manangsina
matnativa manamsina
Katvam kanja pala shakshi
Katvam kanja pala shakshi
kuto va kimchikirshasi
kuto va kimchikirshasi
kasyasi vadavamoru
kasyasi vadava moru
matnativa manamsinaha
matnativa manamsina
Katvam kanja pala shakshi
Katvam kanja pala shakshi
kuto va kimchikirshasi
kuto va kimchikirshasi
kasyasi vadavamoru
kasyasi vadava moru
matnativa manamsinaha
matnativa manamsinaha
Katvam kanja pala shakshi
Katvam kanja pala shakshi
kuto va kimchikirshasi
kuto va kimchikirshasi
kasyasi vadava moru
kasyasi vadava moru
matnativa manamsina
matnativa manamsina
Ka. Who?
Who
Tvam. Are you?
are you?
Kanja palasa akshi.
Kanja pala shakshi
Having eyes like the petals of a lotus.
having eyes like the petals of lotus
Kutaha.
Kutaha
From where?
from where?
Fa. Either.
Either
Kim chikirshasi.
kimchikirshasi
What is the purpose
what is the purpose
for which you have come here?
for which
for which
you
you have come here?
Kasya.
Kasya
Of whom?
of
of whom?
Asi,
Asi,
do you belong?
do you belong?
Buddha,
Buddha,
kindly tell us.
kindly tell us.
Vama Uru,
Vama,
O you whose thighs
O you whose thighs
are extraordinarily beautiful.
extraordinarily beautiful.
Matmati,
Matmati,
agitating.
agitated,
Eva,
Eva,
like.
like,
Manangsi,
Manamsi,
within our minds.
within our minds,
Naha,
Naha,
our.
our.
Translation and purport by His Divine Loving Grace to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So they're addressing the form of the Lord, Mohini Murti, they see as a beautiful young girl, an object of sense. They even see God as an object of sense gratification. Oh, wonderfully beautiful girl, you have such nice eyes, resembling the petals of a lotus flower. Who are you? Where do you come from? What is your purpose in coming here? And to whom do you belong? Oh, you whose thighs are extraordinarily beautiful, our minds are becoming agitated simply because of seeing you. Purport. The demons inquired from the wonderfully beautiful girl, to whom do you belong? A woman is supposed to belong to her father before her marriage, to her husband after her marriage, and to her grown sons in her old age. In regard to this inquiry, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that the question, to whom do you belong, means, whose daughter are you? Since the demons could understand that the beautiful girl was still unmarried, every one of them desired to marry her. Thus they inquired, whose daughter are you? Om Jnana Timrandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Hey Namaha Sri Chaitanya Vitam Yena Bhutale Vayapadamayam Dati Svakadantikam Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vachaline Nirvisheshwari Sastachare Shatarne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're going still into this pastime of the churning of the milk ocean. This is perhaps the most emphasized or most prominent aspect of this churning in some ways, is the appearance of Mohini Murti, the form of the Lord, beautiful form of the Lord in the form of a woman. Krishna, although he's Krishna, she is Krishna himself. Everything in one sense is a form of Krishna. The living entities we see here, Prabhupada is mentioning of the demons are also asking, whose daughter are you? Prabhupada is emphasizing here that for a girl, she's always under the shelter, owned, if you want to call it like that. Everybody is owned by somebody in some way or another. We may not see it like that because coming into this material universe, into the illusory energy, means we're misusing our independence. Within the realm of, let's say, the relationship with master and servant, is not just a situation of being a mechanical servant. The relationship also has so many different features, and sometimes very intimate features. Sometimes the master confides in the servant, chauffeur or a personal servant or something, things which he doesn't tell anyone else. They have a certain relationship. It can be a very sweet relationship. It's not just one, I'm the master, you're the servant. You're just like a machine. But in principle, it's like that. Every living entity is by nature needs shelter. Every living entity needs protection. We may try to think we don't, like sometimes children They think they can maintain themselves independent of their parents, independent of their protectors, etc. But it's very hard for a child to do that. It can be, maybe in the world we're in today, it's been Kali Yuga, things are a little different, no doubt, but in principle it's hard for a woman. They can easily get exploited. It's a dangerous situation, more so for a woman than it is for a man. It's dangerous for everyone, but it's more so for a woman. So in Vedic society, women were held in high respect and they were given very, just like if you're wealthy, you protect your wealth, you protect your property, you protect your body, you protect that which is dear to you. So women were protected in society. They were not made public property, so to speak, so that everyone could, like here, Moni Murti is manifesting herself as if she's it's actually Vedic terminology. Any woman who's not under the protection of others is considered to be a prostitute. Of course, that isn't the situation which we would put forward today, obviously, because the whole world is like that. But that was the tradition. No lady would be loose, so to speak, free. In that sense, they would always be under shelter. Not something that would go down very well with modern philosophy or modern lifestyle. You could say people would definitely object to that one. But that was the principle, to protect them from being polluted, being misled, being exploited, being hurt, so on and so forth, so that they could live their life properly and hopefully come to perfect their human form of life. So the idea, but that's also the case for every living entity. Every living entity is by nature female. Although we may be in a male body, that doesn't mean we're males. It's just a body which is just like if you're wearing a blue coat, that doesn't make you a blue coat. The body is just a coat of the soul, as we all know. It's whatever it is according to our karma. We've received it, and that's so be it. And we should learn how to utilize that so we can realize we're not the body and realize our true identity, which is Prakriti. Every living entity is by nature female, and every living entity needs protection. In this material world, we take shelter of the modes of nature, we take shelter of the effects of the modes of nature. There's no real shelter. Living entity is constantly faced with danger, constantly. And death is just one final feature, you could say, of this body, but there's so many dangers within our time within this body. So many dangers are there in terms of unwanted circumstances. So many dangers. There is danger at every step of our existence in this world. There is no such thing as not being in danger. So every living entity, male, female, animals, everyone needs protection. Every living entity is in a danger. At any moment we may be, either by the one form or another, a manifestation of the material energy may take away what we've got, injure us, cause some problems, miseries of various kinds are there, caused by a body and mind or other living entities or nature itself. There might be an earthquake. We don't get earthquakes here very often. We did have the first one. I don't know whether it was very often experienced, but New Mayapur about 2 months ago, we actually had an earth tremor. Suddenly everything started shaking like this. I never expected that. Some kind of minor earthquake near La Rochelle or something. And we felt a bit of it. But generally that's not the case. It's certainly not very fearful one. But if you've really been in earthquakes, then you really know what it's like. You've got no protection. I mean, there's literally not much you can do. You can run out the house and hope for the best if you get out in time, in case it comes down on top of you. But it's a very scary experience. In one sense, there's nothing you can do. It's not like you can fight back. You can try to get out of it, but you can't guarantee that will work either. There's a danger at every step, or some kind of, wind, hurricane, whatever you call it, cyclone, whatever it is. can't, yeah, that's very scary. Or to speak of something like a tsunami, a wave 100 feet high coming towards you. That's just some natural things when you get sicknesses. This material world is no shelter for the soul. There's no real shelter in this world. It appears to be some kind of shelter, but there's no real shelter. We take shelter of sense gratification. The demons think that they can protect themselves. Another aspect of demonic mentality, they think that they can protect themselves from whatever it is that's a problem, and they make all kinds of arrangements to try to protect themselves. To some extent it's natural, of course it's natural, but they depend entirely. They don't depend upon the actual shelter of taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. They take shelter of their own karmic strength, their own karmic intelligence, their own karmic whatever abilities they have, and so on. They take shelter of that. Sometimes they take shelter of each other. Of course, they do that predominantly in society, although not successfully, but they try to make arrangements to give protection to each other in society. Police force, doctors, so on and so forth, hospitals, army, and to try to protect them from danger. But there is danger at every step, and you can't avoid it. Even within the family there is danger. And here we see amongst so-called members of the same party, they're fighting with each other. They're risking each other's lives to obtain sense, because it's all based upon this principle of thinking we are the Purush, we're the enjoyer, where everything is meant for our sense enjoyment. And as soon as that's the case, then we're definitely going to get an animalistic mentality. You see clearly when there's, for instance, if there's a corpse, dead corpse, various creatures, not all, but dogs and jackals and birds, different creatures will all try to possess that dead body for themselves, to eat, of course. But the same mentality as they're in a live body, many people want to enjoy that person, male or female, especially the female body. Many men want to enjoy that personality, an individual. So that's animalistic mentality, demoniac mentality. To want to enjoy or to want to experience Nandamoya or Nandamoya Visat, material sense pleasures, is a perverted reflection of the natural pleasure of the soul when the soul is in the correct situation, in the right shelter, rightly situated. When something is rightly situated, it functions in its normal condition. Otherwise it's malfunctioning, and one tries to make all kinds of adjustments to try to satisfy the natural needs of, in the case of the living entity, anything like that. When it's not rightly situated, like a square pin in a round hole, it doesn't fit. No matter what you do, it's not comfortable. Everything has its part, everything has its place. Every living entity has its place. We are misplaced in the material world. Although we try to make this place a nice place, we try to find our place in the material, but the real bottom line principle is we don't belong in this world. There is, to some degree, Swadharma, our conditioned position in this world. And Vedic society is there to make that as simple as possible to facilitate the realization of our eternal Dharma, a Sanatana Dharma. But in the material world, very few people are serious about that. They limit themselves. They identify themselves with the situation they're in, rather than seeing the situation they're in as an opportunity to realize their true situation. They're locked in by their own desire, not by anything else. It's not by anything else that causes this. There's a little story Srila Prabhupada tells of one king, and he's in his court, in his room with all of his courtiers and ministers and Brahmins are sitting there and so on. And he's inquiring, he's kind of perplexed as to how is it that, why is it, how does this work, that, we're kept into Maya like this, that Maya keeps us bound up like this. Why is this? And no one gave him a satisfactory answer. Somehow or another, an elderly blind man stumbled into the courtroom, into the assembly rather. And the blind man couldn't see, he was tripping over, and everyone was laughing or saying, get him, he shouldn't be here, help him to get out, and so on and so forth. The blind man seemed to have a purpose of being there. The king looked, watching him. He said, "No, let him come in. I want to ask the question. None of you are satisfying me. Maybe he can satisfy me." So the king asked this blind man the question, and the blind man didn't know where he was going. He was walking around the room. He bumped into a tree, because in Vedic times the king's assembly might be in like a courtyard with trees, like Krishna Balaram Mandir, for instance. There was a tree in a temple room, basically speaking. So he bumped into a tree and he threw his arms around the tree and started screaming, "Let me go, let me go, let me go." Everyone started laughing. They thought the man's mad. He's a crazy man. But the king was a little bit more intelligent than even his own advisors. And he realized what the man was teaching him. It's not the Maya binds us up, is that we're attached to Maya. It's it's like, we embrace Maya and then we scream, "Let me go, let me go, let me go." Well, it's not Maya who's holding, it's us holding on to Maya. Maya is just the energy of the Lord playing its part on behalf of the Lord. We're not playing our part, we're trying to play someone else's part. And therefore we have a mess. If you ever see an orchestra, Philharmonic Orchestra, Nitai Charan, he's not with us this year, but he's a professional double bass player, and he used to play in one of the biggest orchestras in Europe. It's called the Volkswagen Philharmonic Orchestra. He used to be playing in that orchestra, German, and he's very expert at playing the double bass. So everyone plays their part. Someone plays the flute, someone plays the violin, someone plays the bass, someone plays the cello, someone plays this and that. Triangle, whatever it is, piano, so many saxophones, so many instruments are there in an orchestra. But everyone plays their own instrument. They don't try to play others. And they play harmoniously. They don't just play independently, try to be heard the more than others. If everyone plays independently, you get a mess, just like here. They're all trying to put their heads forward. I want, I'm the best, that's mine. This is the demoniac mentality, the mentality of those who want to be independent of Krishna and want to not play our part. Independence, misuse of independence. Brings it about the demonic mentality means misuse of independence, whether it's original or you could say in the phenomenal world that we're in. They still want to misuse their independence, do things which are against the laws of Dharma or religion. Everybody's affected, especially in Kali Yuga. Everyone's affected. And although theoretically we may know that we are part and parcel of Krishna, we're meant to satisfy Krishna, we're meant to be under the shelter of Krishna, we still take shelter of our minds, we still take shelter of our attachments, we still take shelter of other conditioned souls, etc., material energy, in so many different ways. And we don't really put Krishna's desire in the center of our lives. By putting Krishna's desire in the center of life, what is the purpose of, the Papa would say, you have a beautiful woman, the purpose is to connect her to Krishna, to see her as Krishna, to bring her or introduce her to Krishna. This is, you could say, proper utilization of the tendency to be attracted to beauty, is to offer whatever we have, whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we offer, whatever we give away, should be done as an offering unto me, Krishna said. So we try to learn how to offer everything to Krishna, even when we're attached to it, even when we're in illusion, even when we're still thinking with ourselves a bit in the center. The process of change is to offer everything to Krishna, not to see that as an object of our sense gratification. That's not an easy one, but that's the process. Accompanied, Jiva Goswami, I don't know much, but Jiva Goswami says that if we chant the holy name of Krishna in the process of our lives, it helps us to become free of the propensity to see ourselves in the center as the enjoyer. There's this tendency to see ourselves as the doer and consequently as the enjoyer. And we tend to see others around us in relationship to ourselves. This is the illusion, that we see how others affect me. We don't see it in relationship with Krishna. We see it in relationship to ourselves. I like, I don't like. Mostly our life's based on that principle. Whether it's food, whether it's people, whether it's situations, whether it's service, whatever it is, we tend to see it according to how I feel. Krishna conscious person sees it how it relates to Krishna. This is transformation. So therefore, for those who are conditioned, which basically means everyone, to seeing themselves in the center as the enjoyer, everything around them is something either to reject or to accept, there are principles of freedom, regulated principles. If one wants to get free of the miseries of material existence, Krishna said, you have to follow the regulated principles of freedom. Regulated in eating, sleeping, mating, defending, even recreation, everything. Regulated by Vedic injunctions, not by your own, let's say, concoction, but by Vedic standards. And this way, gradually, it's like training a wild horse. The wild horse gradually becomes tamed. Their mind gradually becomes tamed. A lot of objection will be there. We try to tame a wild horse. The wild horse is not very enthusiastic about it, to say the least. It takes time, a little bit. You just have to give and take a little bit. It doesn't happen all at once, usually. Anything can be said like that, drug addiction, any kind of addiction, everyone's got some kind of addiction, no matter what it is. To get free of that addiction to the material energy, there's a regulated process given in the Vedic scriptures, generalized and sometimes specialized, of how to gradually, that's why we have on certain days, in all religions of the world, certain fast days are there, certain restrictions, restrictive processes, don't do this, don't do that. It's not that that's the goal of the religion, it's just that as long as we're doing those nonsense things, there's no way we're going to make spiritual advancement. So some kind of regulation or restriction is there. It's like with meeting. If you really are addicted to meeting and they eat meat on a certain occasion, they eat certain types of meat by doing certain types of sacrifices, offerings before you eat it, helps to reduce the propensity over a period of time. But of course, one has to follow the injunction, not that we just take advantage of it and concoct our own methodology, which happens many times. So it's a whole science for the human being. No such things are in place for those in animal bodies. But in human body, male or female, there are certain principles which are there, which are meant to free us from the illusion which we're in of identifying ourselves with this material world, this material body. So those regulated principles are there. In their case, of course, it's meant to go a little further. It's meant to awaken attraction or attachment to Krishna. For most people, it might just be detachment from that which causes suffering. Ultimately, a self-reserved soul, has no interest in all these objects of sense gratification. If he knows they're causes of misery, if he doesn't take pleasure in the activity itself, what to speak of the fruits of the work, he has no interest. His interest is on the spiritual plane, even whether they're Mayavadi or Vaishnava. Every spiritualistic person knows that. There's no question about this. Spiritual advancement and sense gratification go ill together. They don't mix, like oil and water. So a gradual, step by step, a little bit, and then following Vedic principles, gradually helps the living entity to get free of this addiction to sense enjoyment, to seeing others as an object of my sense gratification, because that is the demoniac mentality, whether it's in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. If we see ourselves as the enjoyer of the object of our senses, It may not mean you're a demon, but it's a demonic mentality to see things like that. To see that that belongs to me, this is meant for my enjoyment. It sounds like almost like we have no position whatsoever. But that's the unique feature of devotional service, unseen by those who haven't connected with devotional service. The pleasure, I remember one time in Australia, there was one lady, her son joined the temple. And she was a Christian, and so was her husband. And they tried everything they could to get their son out of the temple. They didn't, they were very nice people though. They were not aggressive. And they would come to the temple regularly, but to try to convince their son to leave, to come back to reality, back to home, back to Christianity. So there's nothing in reality wrong with that in a sense, but they didn't really appreciate the Hare Krishna movement so much. They weren't offensive. They weren't aggressive. They were very polite people, very respectful people. So anyway, this went on for quite some months, and then after a while, things started to change a little bit. And anyway, she told me the story. So she said one day, what happened was one day she did, because they would come every Sunday, because they're working people. They would come every Sunday to see their son and try to encourage him to get out of there. And she said one Sunday she realized, they were late. They were very regulated people. And they were late. The husband had a call of nature. He was in the toilet. She shouted to her husband, "Hurry up, it's time to go to the temple." And he said, "I'm trying to be as quick as I can, but I'm in the toilet. I'll be there soon." Then when he came down, she said, "I don't know, something strange is happening. I'm not so interested in calling our son away from the temple anymore. I kind of like going to the temple. It's kind of nice." Mm-hmm. He said, "Well, you know what? I feel the same way." Mm. So they started coming regularly to the temple, not to drag their son away, but because they liked it. Mm. So after a while, one of the devotees asked the lady, I think she may not have been working, she was coming on her own during the week, and he was working, and so they asked, "Would you like to do some service?" She said, "Sure." "Can you clean all the windows in the temple?" "Oh my God," she said, "I hate cleaning windows. It's the one thing I don't like doing in the house is cleaning windows. I always leave that to my husband." And I said, "Well, that's what's needed." I said, "Okay, I'll give it a go." After an hour or two, she cleaned the windows, and the boy said, "Thank you so much, you've done a really good job. I thought you didn't like cleaning windows." "I don't like cleaning windows," she said, "but I don't know what's happened." She said, "Today I feel happier than I've ever felt in my life. I think these are not ordinary windows. These are Krishna's windows," she said. "That's why I feel happy. They're Krishna's windows." She had a realization that it's not a matter of doing things. It's a matter of seeing Krishna there. What does Krishna like? It's the pleasing Krishna is the constitution of the soul, not to please ourselves. Our tendency is to please ourselves. And it's a heavy word to use, but it's the demoniac mentality. But the devotional mentality is to always think what will please Krishna. It's a big topic. It's the whole topic of Bhakti Yoga. But that's the principle. And that's what we're missing. That's the only thing missing. Is this mentality or this consciousness of how we can please Krishna. There's so many absolute and relative examples. That was a kind of mixed example of this situation, of the effects of pleasing Krishna, knowingly or unknowingly, the beneficial effects, or you could say the consciousness of those who are in that mentality, and how dear they become to Krishna, and how Krishna gives his love to such persons who give themselves to him with unconditional devotional service, without any Krishna, I'll serve you if. I'll do service in the temple if I have the facility, if you pay me, if you don't give me too much to do, if the prasadam's good, and blah blah blah. Conditional devotional service, if at all devotion. It's not pure. Pure devotional service is what really attracts Krishna's attention. The devotees are kind. They try to engage, no matter what the conditions are of a person. They try to, facilitate somehow or another, if possible. But we understand if we really want to talk about devotional service, it means unconditional, without any personal conditions, so to speak. Knowing that that's my eternal position is to simply live for the pleasure of Krishna, to do what he would please him. And that is, the personification of that is Radharani, of course, and all the followers of Srimati Radharani. That's them, everyone in the spiritual world has this mentality. And what is Krishna's mentality? What will please those who have that mentality. He lives for their pleasure, and they live for his pleasure. They live, but that's their whole modus operandi, so to speak. That's their whole purpose of existence, is to please Krishna. And Krishna's purpose is to please his devotees. So that is real love. It's not a question of, I'm enjoying now, this is love. No, it's not. So demonic mentality is not. And even the demigods, they're Sakama Bhaktas, they're not Nishkama, they're still attached. So there's some mixed devotion, they're not unconditional. But Krishna still, they're playing a part, they have a role to play, so he accepts that. And if they're fortunate and they get the association of an unconditional devotee, they may realize their foolishness of being attached to a position, of being attached to being the controller, attached to being the enjoyer, seeing themselves in the center, thinking they're very great people, and so on. They may become free of that unfortunate mentality. Okay, well, I'm going to finish there. The subject matter will go on for the next few days. Are there any questions or comments? We're going to read the scores in a minute, but if there are any questions or comments, you can ask. Quite a strong subject, quite a deep subject.
Excuse me. So, my question is, what happens at that moment? Like, I hear...
What happens to the egg?
No, what happens at that moment? At that moment, for example, that
My ears,
opportunity...
I still can't hear anything after last night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that opportunity comes, to choose.
The opportunity comes
To choose.
for?
Sense gratification or Krishna.
Huh?
Sense gratification or... Maya.
Sense gratification when the opportunity comes. When will that day
What
come?
happens?
When
No.
or when will that day
No,
be
no,
mine?
no. My question is, at that
Offense
moment...
is increasing. Taste to the holy name decreasing.
No, my question is, at that moment, what happens knowingly, still not able to choose the right?
What happens when you don't choose the right?
No. My question is, after knowing all these things,
After knowing all these things,
the moment comes
the moment comes.
and I have to choose
And I have to choose
between Krishna and Maya.
between Krishna and Maya. And
And
who
I
do you
choose
choose?
Maya.
And you choose Maya. You're stupid.
So, why it happens?
Wow, that's because...
Even after knowing,
Yeah, isn't it? Incredible. Well, you know,
It's like helpless.
This is foolishness.
helpless.
Isn't it foolishness? You know that, a drug addict knows that, although he knows it's not really, many people do. You know it's not really good for you, but you still do it.
Yeah.
You still stick the needle in. Because you're addicted to because you're wrongly situated. You need immediate relief. Immediate relief. Very attractive. Maya is very attractive. Krishna's manifestation, external energy, reflection of the internal energy. She's very attractive. The business is there. It's a test. It's a test, isn't it? It's a real test. And sometimes we fail it. But what do you do if you fail the test? What do you do?
You retake the test.
Pardon?
You retake the test.
You what?
Retake it.
You retake the test. Oh, that's a simple answer. Well, I'll give you an example of that. To this day, I'm still traumatized. I had to take a language before I could go on to university. I had to pass a language. And we had to choose a language, another language besides English, and to pass it. And I don't know why, but I chose French. And now I'm getting the reaction for it, I'm sure. And I was on the very last test, and I failed it 4 times. Simple test. I failed it 4 times, and you only had 5 hits, and after that you're disqualified. And my 5th, I'm convinced it was the worst of all 5. Over a period of about 18 months, I had to take one and fail, and I take the same thing again, failed again, same thing again, failed again, 4 times. And then eventually on the 5th, I think out of compassion, they gave me a pass mark. I definitely didn't do as well on the 5th one as I did on the previous ones. It just didn't sink in. So you have to take it again. Krishna will arrange it again, and eventually you'll pass the test. But what do you do immediately after you fail the test? Say for instance you like, well, something, I don't know. It's pretty hard doing Sankirtan there if you're a donut addict. Right? What's that place we go down there, layout, and you're right in front of a brand new, which looks very popular. I don't know what they taste like, but it's a donut shop, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Hot donuts? Hot donuts. It says hot. Hot donuts. And if you're a donut addict, I don't advise you to go there to do book distribution. It'd be difficult, right? But what happens if, not where the devotees, there's no one else, I'm the only one here, there's not many in the queue, and you fall down and you go in and have a donut. If you're going vegetarian, vegan donut, please. There was no vegan donuts. You have to have vegan donuts, they don't make money. So you sit there and hope that, put your coat on top of your head or something, and then come out. And how do you feel?
Bad.
Huh? Very bad.
Yeah.
You don't feel good about it, right? It may you fall down. It may happen even more severe. That's one thing. It may be even severe. It might be sexual. It may be something else. It may happen in our lives. Especially young people, they have many times, whether with yourself or with someone else, some sexual fall down. You feel bad. You feel bad. You don't think, oh, let me do that again. That was nice. If you do, you're in the wrong place. You have to go through a little bit of lesson learning first. But if you're actually practicing devotional service and have this knowledge, you don't feel bad about it. You don't feel guilty. That's called anuttapa. It's a kind of internal burning sensation. And you feel bad and you feel repentant. And because we're weak, it may happen again and again sometimes. We don't feel good about it. We don't just accept it as being, okay, never mind, that's fine. I'm still chanting Hare Krishna. That's not a very good mentality. That means it will go on lifetime after lifetime until we wake up. But we will feel repentant. We'll feel bad about it if it happens. Because we're weak. Material energy is strong. We have a lot of attachments in this world. You're coming from perhaps a different background to some of the devotees here. Western conditioning is perhaps a different. Sometimes the conditioning, and you may not be one of those, but for Indian people, oftentimes the conditioning is of different kind. Just like that man who came yesterday, nice guy. You got him to clean the tables, I think. No. Our family tradition is we follow our uncle. Our uncle said in Bhagavad Gita, there's Karma Yoga, Raja Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. And our line is, we cannot go beyond Karma Yoga. My uncle told us we cannot read beyond Karma Yoga. I'm not interested. Karma Yoga, I'm doing my karma, and that's it, full stop. They're conditioned like that. They won't go there. Very, very attached. Absolute, straight out, he said that before we started. Fixed, attachment. Conditions. So Krishna, a little pious, so Krishna's giving them a little connection. But people, they're rigid in their, I'm this, I don't do this, I don't go there. They're stuck in their ways. All religions like that. I'm a so-and-so. I'm no, we don't, this is, no. They box themselves in. They're in a kind of conditioned state. And of course those outside of that are conditioned by sense gratification in other ways. but it's a limiting factor. There's no repentance there. There's no repentance whatsoever. Whereas a devotee repent, they feel genuine. It's not just a matter of going in within the religion saying sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. And thinking yourself proud that you went, I believe, and therefore I can do any damn thing I like. And it's okay. It's that's not repentance. You don't want any. If there's no desire for change, there won't be change. So if your attitude of your heart is you want change, or you're too weak to overcome it, then certain situation may have to change your station in life a little bit to help deal with that, or whatever it may be. But that feeling of repentance within one's heart is pure. When we accept that and we're sorry, and we don't pray, forgive me all the time. Prayer will be there. And that's better than nothing, you could say, to pray, forgive me, I can't do anything about it. I'm a sinner. That's something, not very advanced, not very mature. But to pray, I don't want to do things which are pleasing to you, but I'm so weak. Please, Krishna, help me, give me strength to overcome this difficulty. Help me, please. I mean, he will help you, but he may not help you in a demanding way that, okay, no more problem. But it'll help us to turn to him more and more in these situations. If you wanted to. It's a matter of desire. We're here because of desire. We get out of here because of desire. It's what your real desire is. So you'll be tested there a desire becomes absolute, unconditional. You realize you're not the body. And even if there is some external, situation like that, whatever conditional reason it is, this is, what's that verse? That you're still considered saintly because your attitude is, you're not taking advantage of it, therefore, it becomes an offensive mentality, but you are taking shelter of Krishna, and is still considered saintly, even if one engages in some activity which is not really devotional, abominable, the word is used, abominable activity. One is still considered saintly because one is rightly situated in one's intention, which is to ultimately simply to please Krishna. And so in those situations, of course, we try not to allow that to happen. We try to learn from the situation, to avoid the causes, not just the effect, but the cause. What was the cause of that? Maybe it was wrongly bad association. Maybe you watched something on the video on the internet or something on your mobile or something which agitated your mind. But maybe whatever it may be, who knows? Sometimes we don't know why. But whatever it is, we try to adjust our lives in a way to protect. Why? But we try to adjust according to what we hear from Krishna, from the devotees, how to protect ourselves from these situations to the best capacity we can. But we are weak and we are still full of anarthas, so sometimes it may happen. We should become depressed. There's a difference between depression and repentance. Depression is like a hopeless situation where you become negative, whereas the repentant is one where we take more shelter of Krishna. We realize we're weak and we actually take shelter, not just to be forgiven for it. That's also, of course, part, but it's not the main part. The main part is to take shelter of Krishna, genuinely take shelter, so that we get the strength, the strength. We don't become overcome by the material energy. It's just a matter of practice, a matter of time, experience, and eventually, it will be automatic that we'll take shelter of Krishna in these difficult situations. Denu Kampas. We can use many examples in the Vedic society, take shelter. You can see Ambarish Maharaj, how he does Thakur, so many others, faced with difficult situations. Remember how they reacted to those situations. Take shelter of them. Pray for their mercy that we can also not become a victim of temptation or whatever form it may be, whether it's lust, greed, anger, envy, or whatever. We not become overwhelmed by that. And then you can see, like with Vishwamitra Muni, when he was faced with challenging situation, he also fell into the net of Maya. He became angry. That's not exactly the right reaction. So we can learn from that as well. He lost all the benefits of the austerities. So we could go on and on and on. Maybe that gives a little idea. Hare Krishna, I'd like to thank you all for yesterday's Sankirtan efforts on Christmas Day, which is traditionally not a very predictable day, but I'll quickly read the scores. Yesterday, with one small book, King Chandni. Jai Chandni. With one medium book, Leela Madhuri Devi Dasi. With one Mahabig book, King Yumi. With 3 Mahabig books and 3 magazines. Was that here in the temple? Priyarani Devi Dasi. And also here in the temple. I haven't counted last night's scores yet. I had 8 boxes of books ready, all laid out. We had a table, a big table. Every book was on the table. I had to put almost every book back out, put every box, organize every book, count every book, put them all in the boxes, arrange them all in the car, drive them all there, take them all out of the car, put them all on the table, and then put them all back in the boxes, put them all back in the car. They're still sitting in the car. We got like 11 o'clock last night, so I haven't taken them out of the car. So I don't know how many, maybe 2 or 3 were sold. I don't know. Maybe. You saw nobody, huh? Nobody, hardly 1 or 2. And anyway, I haven't counted them yet. This is just in the temple as well. 2 Mahabig books, 2 big books, 4 medium books, and 1 small book in the temple yesterday. In between 108 other activities which were going on in the temple yesterday during the day. And then also in the temple during the lunchtime with 5 Mahabig books, Tamal Krishna Prabhu. And then I don't know where they were, but somewhere near New Mayapur with 12 Mahabig books, Fani Bhushan Prabhu, and also Jyoti Prabhu together, 12 Mahabig books. And then with 10 Mahabig books, 1 big book, 2 medium books, and 14 small books. Mahananda Prabhu, last full day in Lisbon, he's coming back today. And then with 5 Mahabig books, 1 small book, and 6 Arabic books. Bye bye Prabhu! Oh, the way you conquer over these desires. Go on, Sankirtan. And then in 5th place, with 18 Mahabig books, 1 medium book, and 3 Arabic books. Bhaktamatya. And then with 16 Mahabig books, 4 medium books, 2 small books, 2 magazines, 9 Arabic books. Danatai Prabhu. 3rd yesterday with 27 Mahabig books, 30 Arabic books. Harini Devi Dasi. And 2nd top score yesterday, although it's a cooperative, like cooperative score, with 80 Mahabig books. The Bengali community. I like yesterday, they distributed 80 Bhagavad Gitas. There's to people who donated money for the program or did something like that for the Damodar program or something. So they distributed 80. That was one of the 4 boxes went to them, so that was one relief. And then, well, familiar sight. I don't know what words to use here. Familiar sight. 51 Arabic books, 66 on Christmas Day, my goodness. This has become your new number, 66, huh? 66 Mahabig books, Rasananda Sankirtan Prabhu. Boy, a total of 257 Mahabig books. Well, there were 80 of those with the Bengali community. They won't be doing that every day for now. If they do it every day, it would be nice, but they're not. Just yesterday. 3 big books, 12 medium books, 19 small. Very few books in between here. No Arabic Gitas, 99 small Arabic books, and 825.25 book points. Well done. Pretty good for Christmas Day. Actually, 1 score was not recorded, and that was a Srimad Bhagavatam set by Gandharvika, but that will be on tomorrow's score. Hare Krishna. You saw the picture.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai.